Mr. Clements, I'd like to thank you for agreeing to share what life was like as a POW in Celebes, Indonesia. I'd like to pick up our story when you were commissioned to the Exeter. What did you go on the Exeter as?
Well, I applied for this situation, as they called it, NAAFI staff afloat. It appealed to me, and I went on board as a petty officer.
Do you remember the day you were first commissioned to the Exeter? You just got married, hadn't you?
Yes, I was married on the 1st of March, 1941. And the ship left Plymouth, I think on the 12th or 13th of March, 41. And, well, I was sunk on the 1st of March, 1942. 1 year to the day.
Do you remember when you went to the Exeter and your capture?
Well, yes, I joined the Exeter, I should think about the last weeks of February. We went from Plymouth up to the Shetlands and the Orkneys, and then all over. Now, when we got to Calcutta, war was declared with Japan. We then joined up with the Dutch East India Navy and proceeded with them. But not long after, in March 1942, the Japanese attacked us, and we had to scuttle our ship. When they said abandon ship, I jumped over the guard rails and I slid down the side. Well, the ship was still going, you see. About 2 or 3 knots, I suppose. And I got sucked under. And that's when the Japanese picked me up. And when I got up there on the Japanese destroyer, well, they chucked buckets of water over us to fumigate us, I suppose. To clean us down before they shipped us over to Makassar in the Celebes, where I was imprisoned the whole time.
Did they mistreat you at all?
Well, on the ship, they gave us no help. No care was given to our wounded on that ship. Eventually, they gave us handfuls of rice to eat. I mean, even when we got to the camps, which we had to build ourselves out of bamboo, we had about 3 meals a day, but every meal was rice for the entire time. We even had to find our own utensils to put coffee in. Tins, buckets, anything. If you found a tin, they issued you the coffee. And if not, well, you went without. We were regularly beaten with fists, sticks. Whatever they could find, they would beat us. And it didn't help that we couldn't speak their language. Now, the beatings, they were terrible. They were villainous. And the Japanese, they loved it. It was very hard.
What were the sanitary conditions like?
No such thing. No such thing. There were no toilets, no facilities, and malaria and dysentery were rife. And we lost a lot of people to disease and the conditions. My bed was a wooden board.
What kind of things did you all do to help you cope?
Cope? Well, friendship, I suppose. The friendship was terrific. We tried to keep fit and, well, I suppose we tried to do what they wanted us to do. Basically, I suppose you could only sort of hope. Hope that the end would come.
When you did find out that the war was over, how were you dispersed?
Well, they lined us up and told us the war was over. Lined us up and said we weren't to celebrate, but that the war is over. And just like that, the restrictions were cut out and the sick went to a hospital in Makassar. The treatment rapidly improved. You could tell the Japanese were now very scared. I remember the feel of elation when the Australians first flew over and dropped us food and clothes before they could get us out of there. And after that, we got 2 weeks recuperation in Australia before boarding the HMS Maidstone and heading home.